One Zambia, one nation. Welcome to Zanis News. My name is Mwangala Kapandula. We take you through the headlines. Government flags of countrywide pesticides distribution. Over 30,000 cattle vaccinated against foot and mouth disease in Pemba. Chief Mugoni calls for revision of chiefdom boundaries. Elephants terrorize Belwangwa district. Zanis News in detail. Following the countrywide outbreak of armyworms that have invaded maize fields, government is mobilizing pesticides to combat the pests. About 9,000 households have been affected in northwestern province by the armyworm invasion. Provincial authorities are hopeful that the pesticides made available by government for distribution to all districts will help combat the pests in order to safeguard food security in the region. Mwape Mwesa now reports.
The presence of 4 armyworms has continued causing havoc to various maize fields in northwestern province. Over 2,000 hectares of the maize field has been infested in all the 11 districts in the province. To prevent further crop damage, government has sent pesticides to be distributed to all the affected areas.
We have 8,831 households that have been affected by this infestation. We also have, sir, a total number of 2,584 hectares which have been infected. We are very glad, sir, that through the Ministry of Agriculture at our headquarters has responded very, very promptly to this infestation. And so we have received as a province the total quantity of 9,473 liters of pesticide.
The provincial administration wants agro-dealers to help stock the pesticides for easy access.
I urge agro-dealers in the province to supplement government's efforts by ensuring that they have these pesticides in stock at affordable prices to farmers, and that outlet are established in close proximity to where farmers can easily access them.
The District Farmers Association has thanked government for the timely intervention.
On behalf of the farmers, sir, I wish to thank the government for responding timely before our crops go to waste. We are very grateful for this gesture.
Mwape Mwesa for Zanis News in Solwezi District.
In Northern Province, over 12,000 liters of pesticides has been distributed to over 120 agriculture camps to control the outbreak of 4 armyworms in the region. Deputy Permanent Secretary Lewis Mwape, who flagged off the distribution of the chemicals in Kasama, says government will prioritize farmlands that have been highly affected by the pests. Tizaona Mulenga now reports.
The 4 armyworms have invaded farmlands in northern province, causing damage to the maize field. Over 2,500 hectares of land have been infested, affecting 9,000 households. Northern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Lewis Mwape has flagged off the distribution of 4 armyworm chemicals to farmers in the province.
Your government sees important to ensure that 12,000 liters are procured and delivered to the farmers in the northern province so that we secure the crop. The 120 camps which have been affected. So we want to ensure that all the farms, all the fields that are affected, we prioritize those that are highly affected.
Northern Province Principal Agriculture Officer Innocent Mlauzi reported that the province has also been affected by the cassava brown streak virus.
We have recorded outbreaks of the 4 armyworms and cassava brown streak virus. The virus is spreading at a faster rate, and if nothing is done to contain it, all the cassava might be wiped out. I therefore appeal through your officer for support to control the disease.
Summer Agriculture Committee chairperson has commended government for aiding farmers.
Tuletotera palichi pantu mwasuka mukwangu fyanya pamulandu wa mufundo nachitotera sana pantu mwachikumi yako okutila mwalipera omufundo omufundo waliperwa na bafama bonse twalipokerera.
Reporting for Zanis in Kasama, Mtizao na Mlinga.
Still on armyworms, Miriam Kumwenda reports that government has flagged off the distribution of chemicals to fight the invasion of the 4 armyworms in Mchinga province. Deputy Permanent Secretary Matthews Chilekwa flagged off the distribution exercise of chemicals to smallholder farmers in Chinsali.
Distribution of chemicals to be used in the fight against 4 armyworms has started in Mchinga province. Speaking when he flagged off the distribution exercise to farmers in Chinsali district yesterday, whose infestation rate stands at 2.5%, Mchinga province Deputy Permanent Secretary Reverend Matthews Chilekwa says government attaches great importance to smallholder farmers as they are key engines to wealth creation and economical growth.
I would like to thank the new Don government for its unique characteristic of always responding to the outcry and challenges of our share smallholder farmers. And such a response is the release of a colossal sum of money by the Ministry of Finance for the purchase of chemicals to fight the devastating effects of the 4 armyworms.
Ministry of Agriculture in the province has expressed confidence of having a bumper harvest in this agriculture season with a timely arrival of chemicals in the province.
About 360 hectares that have been affected by armyworms, of which about 655,000 have been affected. So far we are 350 and these chemicals got up to 4,000. So I think we are on course. And currently we are at 2.5% in terms of annual infestation. And for us in terms of agriculture, this percentage is not threatening. It's something that we can control better than the chemicals have arrived.
The farmers in the district are elated with the arrival of chemicals.
Miriam
Kumwenda reporting for Zanis in Chinsali, Mchinga province.
In Southern Province, over 30,000 heads of cattle have been vaccinated in Pemba district in the ongoing vaccination exercise against foot and mouth disease. District Livestock Officer Kelvin Chifwana says the district was given 45,000 doses of foot and mouth vaccines by government. Chintu Nangamba now reports.
Foot and mouth disease has serious negative effects that hamper on animal production once it strikes. Since its outbreak in certain parts of the country, Pemba district has not been spared from its adverse effects. That is why, as a control measure to protect animals against foot and mouth infection, government has given Pemba district over 45,000 doses of vaccines against the virus. Over 30,000 cattle have so far been vaccinated against FMD in the ongoing vaccination exercise. Kelvin Chifwana is Pemba District Livestock Officer.
So we received about 45,000 doses to do the vaccination. So we started with Iskatumba under Chief Moyo, where we started, and we went through Mzoka, Kanchomba, Chompa, Pemba Central, and now we are in Kasia Veterinary Camp. The whole idea is to vaccinate about 40,000. So as per yesterday, we went up to 30,250 cattle that were vaccinated. We are going to finish by Friday.
And farmers in the district are elated by this gesture.
Now we penzira yekutulwa na mnyaga yainda obushure kutajana abantu baranganya magani abusirisi bangombe notwirumba ari nk'urumende dayidira mbere busirika ngombe.
Chintu Nangamba, Zanis in Pemba District, Southern Province.
We move to the Copper Belt, where Atlas Mara Bank has donated intensive care unit beds worth 75,000 kwacha to the maternity wing at Tendola Teaching Hospital to help improve health deliveries at the institution. Atlas Mara Acting Managing Director Bob Line Chembela says the bank decided to donate to the hospital as part of the company's corporate social responsibility to support communities throughout the country. Nelly Bota has the details.
Ndola Teaching Hospital has received intensive care unit beds worth 75,000 kwacha from Atlas Mara to improve service delivery at the institution. The intensive care unit beds have been donated to the maternity wing to provide comfort and well-being of expectant mothers.
Last year, we held the Kitwe Golf Tournament at the Nkana Golf Club as a way to bring our customers together and raise funds for use as part of our CSR initiative. We identified the Ndola Central Teaching Hospital as one of the beneficiaries of the funds that were raised at that golf tournament. It gives us great pleasure to donate intensive care unit beds worth 75,000 kwacha to the maternity wing.
Ndola District Commissioner Joseph Piri graced the event.
Let me state that it is the desire of the New Dawn government, of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, to have private sector working to supplement government efforts. Let me also take this opportunity to commend Atlas Mara for remembering this hospital in such a manner.
The Provincial Health Office and Hospital Management says the donation has come at a time when the hospital is trying to improve its services.
As a province, and having this tertiary hospital in the province, we are very, very excited that today we are receiving a component that helps us to build systems in the health sector, that is beds and equipment.
Other stakeholders in the corporate world have been called upon to emulate what Atlas Mara Bank has done. Nelly Bota reporting for Zanis in Ndola.
World Vision Zambia has continued supplementing government's efforts in addressing child marriages in Mfumbwe district. Patson Mulaisho reports that World Vision held a two-day Citizens' Voice and Action integrated training workshop aimed at consolidating the crusade to stop child marriages and teenage pregnancies.
In a bid to curb voices of early marriages and teenage pregnancies among the adolescents, World Vision Zambia held a two-day Citizens' Voice and Action integrated training workshop with the District Child Protection Committee in Mfumbwe District, which encompassed government departments, traditional leadership, and the clergy. National Campaign Coordinator James Zimba explains that World Vision Zambia has so far recorded progress of more than 600 girls out of 1,500 cases on record relating to early marriages and teenage pregnancies countrywide being retrieved and sponsored back to school.
From the World Vision operational areas, we have recorded or received 1,500 cases that we have in our files, and we can confirm that out of those, and working with the district child protection committees, the traditional leaders and other stakeholders at community level, we have retrieved more than 1,000 girls from child marriages, and out of those retrieved through the community initiatives as well, we've supported back more than 600 girls back in school.
Traditional leadership and the clergy are in support of the program.
We need to build up a child, a girl child, because as the saying goes, that if you build up a girl child, educate a girl child, you have educated the entire world. You have helped the entire world. You have removed the poverty from the whole world, because a girl child is very concerned with things. Bring up a girl child, bring up a boy child, there's a difference in the way they handle things.
As pastors, and even you, the media, I would like to urge you so that we join this crusade, not only depending from World Vision, but as a society and a community of Mfumbwe, we are able to mobilize, we are able to think, to brainstorm, so that we stop this vice of child marriage in Mfumbwe district.
Indeed, early marriages and teenage pregnancies should be condemned at all levels of society for meaningful girls' education that will lead to women participation in national development in the near future. Patron Mlasho for Zanis in Mfumbo District, Northwestern Province.
Chief Mukuni of the Toka Lea people in Kazungula district has called for the revision of the 1958 chiefdom boundary maps. Speaking when Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Elijah Muchima called on him at his palace, the traditional leader says there is need to correct some anomalies on the boundary maps. Here's a report.
Chief Mukuni of the Toka Lea speaking people of Kazungula district in the southern province has called for the revision of the chiefdom boundary map of 1958, saying over the years, many things have changed.
We're talking about 1958 map. Yes. I think there are places where normally the chiefs know exactly who has what. So the approach that the government is using is most welcome to say, after some time, we'll sit down as chiefs and then agree. Yes, because a lot of planning for the chiefdoms was done from the offices, not on the ground. Okay. You find that they say Zimba or say Katapazi is here, and yet Katapazi is 20 kilometers away. Yes, yes, things like that. So I think we need to sit down as brothers and sisters and solve those issues. Yes, sir. We won't go to war over them, no. Thank you.
In response, Lands and Natural Resources Minister Elijah Muchima, who paid a courtesy call on him at his palace, says government acknowledges the concerns of the chief, stating that soon a stakeholders meeting to address such issues will be convened.
We are trying to correct one thing also on the 1958 maps, that he has announced that we shall follow it. It is up to you, Royal Highnesses, with your traditional rulers, neighboring, to sit down. You know the boundaries. If there are errors, well, this is a jurisdiction of my colleague in local government, but we are the people in charge of survey who draw those diagrams. We beg to the Royal Highnesses to take it easy if there is something that has not been interpreted properly. It has to be revisited. In the Bible they say, love your neighbor. You should not be selfish.
The lands minister also informed the chief that government acknowledges the many land wrangles the province is experiencing, hence his visit to the province.
We have a lot of problems, double allocation at the council, double, even triple problems. I've directed. Yesterday, my colleagues didn't even sleep. The end of says we have to solve these problems. We are your servants. We have to be on the ground for the people. We don't want them to be coming to Saka, to Choma. We have to visit them in their doorsteps and resolve their problems. If there are officers who are misbehaving, I will not hesitate to have them.
Mr. Muchima is in Southern Province for the sole purpose of addressing some of the land issues that have engulfed the province. Kalan Muchima reporting for Zanis, Kazungula District, Southern Province.
In Western Province, Darlington Kabambe reports that the Independent Broadcasting Authority, IBA, says it has formulated new guidelines under the mandate of setting standards and licensing conditions in order to properly regulate the broadcasting sector in the country. This came to light when IBA Director General Josephine Mapoma and board members engaged media houses in Mongo District.
The Independent Broadcasting Authority IBA board member Mrs. Elizabeth Chanda has called on media houses to be objective in their reporting in Western Province. Mrs. Chanda said this during the stakeholders engagement workshop on the new IBA guidelines held at Country Lodge in Mongo District of Western Province.
The reasons for this stakeholders meeting really is to share with the major stakeholders who are the licensees the new guidelines that IBA has put in place. It is not to say previously we did not have anything, because we do have a law that does provide requirements or conditions that broadcasting stations or licensees have to meet for them to be able to operate. So the rationale behind developing these guidelines really was to develop a step-by-step document which would guide both the IBA and also the licensees to know, firstly, which we presume they already know because these are provided for in the law, what conditions they are expected to comply by. And when we're talking about conditions, for example, we are talking about issues to do with infrastructure, issues to do with security, issues to do with renewal of licenses.
And speaking at the same workshop, Mr. Mumbuna Kufekisa, IBA board member under Finance and Administration Department, said the authority has engaged the Ministry of Home Affairs to be providing security services to media houses as they execute their duties in the country.
But rest assured that the board is considerate of that fact, and I think we are going to approach the Ministry of Home Affairs to be able to make certain arrangements where security is concerned, where perhaps state police can be availed at very nominal fees, other than the fees perhaps that a bank pay to the state security to look after a bank. So we are aware of these constraints, and we have approached the Ministry of Home Affairs through our parent ministry to see how best we can come up with those measures so that we can have security enhanced in this station that we not have enough finance to be able to pay the bills.
Meanwhile, some media house representatives expressed their concerns.
So the goal of the media, and if the media is operating in a conducive environment, it's also serve the community well. They say access to information is power, and empowerment as well. So if the media's operation is not in a good environment, I think there's so many things which affects it, and even the society itself will be affected.
Some of the challenges we've realized as media, which should be taken into consideration by IBA when they are developing these guidelines, it is the issue to do with the radius. You find that our radius, IBA, has given us limited radius, of which we are not even reaching out to most of the communities. The demand we've been receiving, especially here in Western Province, is that we should actually cover the entire Western Province, but due to the limitation of the radius, we would actually lobby from IBA that they can consider also giving us or considering putting in their guidelines of a normal radius.
The new guidelines from the Independent Broadcasting Authority will help to regulate the broadcasting sector in a well-coordinated manner. Darlington Kavambe reporting in Mongo District, Western Province.
Heads of elephants are terrorizing Kavalamanja residents in Luangwa District. The villagers are now reported to be living in fear. Both Luangwa District Commissioner and National Parks and Wildlife officers have since visited the affected villages to assess the situation. Lista Ndumba now reports.
Residents in Luangwa's Kavalamanja area have appealed to government to address the increase in the human-animal conflict in the area. Kavalamanja residents have expressed the fear that they may lose their crops and lives to the elephants.
Wana ali ku school bano ndi muninjesera wana mwema anango ku boarding kwa kufuna vakudi manje nzamba vicho sakuti ngati anijera nzo
mbeu mankhwala yetu doyo kuti tiva ku milisi sati diewe na vidoyo pamini kula apa so manje kuoneka manje boma kuoneka kuti ndrama zija zitaiwa mmadzi kaili kulibe security ya vinyama
nilibe mwamuna atakonze mbani pomu ningazikwaniseni mtitu udabwera.
The district commissioner and the warden assured the residents that more officers are deployed to help protect the crop and the lives of the people.
We would like to thank government for having delivered, because most of the farmers in the district redeemed their input. And you can see this is a good, healthy crop, but the elephant, which must be tamed.
I can confirm there is an increase of elephants here in Luangwa, especially in Kavalamanja, which is one of the corridors. But as National Parks and Wildlife, we are equal to the task. We are working hand in hand with the Office of the DC and the DMMU. We are trying to deploy the manpower which we have, and so far we have deployed the officers in all areas where people have reported that there's human-wildlife conflict reports.
Lista Ndumba, Luangwa District.
Government says it will put up stringent measures to curb the escalating numbers of unruly teenagers, popularly known as junkies, who are terrorizing the communities in Mongo District. Provincial Minister Kapelo Mbangweta says communities need to work hand in hand with the law enforcement agency to address the growing problem. More in the following report.
Residents of Mongo are living in fear due to the escalated number of attacks orchestrated by unruly teenagers locally called junkies. Some of the victims to the junkies have been attacked in their homes and the streets. Gavin Michelo is a victim to the attacks.
The time I was dropping, maybe just within 5 minutes, I just heard, I don't know whether it was a knife or a round bar hit me into my head. And I fell down. They started beating me using the same sharp iron thing. Got a wallet, where there was a ATM and a license, and a phone, na makizi ya motoka na kunyumba.
Kama 23 hours majanki utrokena mwandu nange nilobezi fo utrokena mwandu akeni mwandu nane usazi ani pasumuka kutula famu mbeta nitowona fera kuli kwa munyako kwa musiyo kwimutu ya yemi nge muteni bakuswala mazo nawo konoera kimwana mushima kwa muntu loswala mazo amabeli nawo nikukala kuhuwa batu kuhuwa luli katatu.
Meanwhile, representative to the Medical Superintendent for Liwanika General Hospital says that the number of assault cases received at the hospital in the month of December had increased.
Currently here at Liwanika, for December alone, we received about 328 assault cases.
And Western Province Minister has called on the community to assist law enforcement agency in apprehending this situation.
We would like to appeal to the local community in Mongu that they should help us, they should help the police and help themselves by reporting and not covering up our children.
Mulima Stumbeko reporting for Zanis News in Mongu District, Western Province.
Finally in the news, Solwezi Municipal Council in Northwestern Province has closed down 14 bars in the Central Business District for opening early. Council Public Relations Officer Esther Chira told Zanis that several bars were opened before the stipulated time of 10 hours in the morning, with many of them operating without proper documentation. Chaibu Nkoma now gives us the details.
Solwezi Municipal Council is carrying out random checks to see if bar owners start their businesses according to the stipulated times. A snap check found bars in Kiawama wanting and have suffered the consequences of contravening the law.
No more waiting. Aburisha fire, which I was told to pay in January. This is January, this is not February.
14 bars have been closed down and the owners asked to report themselves to the council's civic center.
If you want to problem, what's na mukulipira? Not if you want to send off your mukampampero mwanje madam. Urabo kumfuana ndi muntu wenu eropa non never ne kwete 15 wo the less tabakwetero munchi 15 so nishinaine na rate mokura bomba iligo.
Esther Chilwa is the council's public relations officer.
In Kiawama, there are seven bars that have been closed for opening early before the stipulated time. Then also in Kazomba, where we had gone yesterday, we also discovered that there were quite a number that were operating without the proper documentation in terms of the fire certificates, the health inspection certificates, the liquor license, then also the business levy, depending on the type of business that is being undertaken.
For Zanis News, I am Chebun Komen, Solwezi District, Northwestern Province.
As we end the news, a recap of the headlines. Government flags off countrywide pesticides distribution. Over 30,000 cattle vaccinated against foot and mouth disease in Pemba. Chief Mukuni calls for revision of chiefdom boundary maps. Elephants terrorize Loangwa district. That's all we had for you. On behalf of the studio crew, this has been Mwangala Kapandula. Stay tuned.